Can't believe I'm making this video. Hopefully I'm not going to get into trouble, but I don't think I will, because usually the videos where I just talk in front of the camera on the microphone, they're not very popular. No one wants to watch it. However, I just want to talk about something that I've been thinking for a while, and I want to get your feedback on it because it's not a very coherent idea. It's just something that I've been noticing more and more. Now, when I say scientism, and honestly, I need to find a better word for it, I'm talking about the union between opinion and scientific fact. And by uniting these two things, it stops being science. But the people who do this do it because they are cowardly, because they think their opinions aren't going to face public scrutiny. So they hide behind the science in order to call people who disagree with them on a matter of opinion as science deniers, and then get them censored for pushing conspiracy theories. What I'm trying to say is that science tells you urine is a good electrical conductor. It does not tell you that you should not piss on an electric fence. Telling people not to piss on electric fences is not a matter of science, it's a matter of political opinion. And if someone decides to piss on an electric fence anyway, he's not being a science denier, he's just being a dumbass. Another example is that science talks about the rising of carbon emissions. That is science. Saying that you need a big government and you need to put carbon taxes and you need all of these things, that's a matter of political opinion. Let me give you a perfect example what I mean by this. And let me tell you about the people who are into this, I guess, like pseudo-religion in a way. And I'll explain exactly why I think that is. Because you see, these people who partake into scientism, they don't actually read scientific papers. They don't go on actual science magazines and read the papers. No, what they do is they read from the mainstream media. They read from the journalists. It's someone that translates the science to them. Like, they need a third person to do the translation for them. And they don't even understand the fundamentals of the field of science that they're taking from. However, they're willing to put a lot of trust into the tertiary person that places themselves between the scientist and their own ear. And what I find fascinating about these people is that they think they're open-minded and they think they're logical individuals, and they mock people that have faith in things because they don't have faith, they believe the science. And furthermore, they claim that they're not bigots. In fact, they claim they're very open-minded individuals, and the moment they're going to see a scientific paper that tells them otherwise, they're going to change their mind. But in reality, when you show them another paper and you try to change their mind, they get very angry at you and they start insulting you before putting their fingers in their ears and stop talking to you. The only thing that can change their mind is if the person that's between the scientist and their ear, which is usually the mainstream media, tells them differently. So, like, if CNN or Fox News, doesn't matter, if one of these cable companies tell them something and they say this is the science, they believe it. And unless it's the same cable company telling them that, okay, now we believe something else, they will not change their mind. So what brought this about? Like, why am I even bringing this up? Perfect example, I had a friend whom I had the following conversation 2 years ago. It was about working from home. And he was telling me how great it is to work from home. He was telling me how he is an IT guy and he just doesn't understand why his company doesn't allow him to work from home. Doesn't make any sense to him. Like, all he has to do would be to code, and then he just brings that to the office, and he just doesn't understand why he has to stay at the office for more than 8 hours. Now, I told him, it's like, look, I know you. Like, we know each other since kindergarten. Like, I know the type of person you are. You would not be able to adjust working from home. You are not the type of person that is able to stay by a schedule. You live with your parents. Like, there's a lot of reasons why for you working from home wouldn't be great. And I'm telling him this based on my lived experiences, because I work from home. I know what it's like, and I knew him as a person. So I don't have any scientific paper. I just have my lived experience, like my personal observations of the world around me. And I'm applying this to a case that I know particularly. But he shows me this scientific paper, which says that people who work from home are more happy and they have like more productivity, and it's so much better to work from home. And when I kept telling him no, like he literally calls me a science denier. He just says like, no, look, I showed you the paper. And by the way, he didn't show me the paper. He was just showing me the article from the mainstream media. And he found it a danger that people like myself who deny the science have the right to vote. It's been very difficult talking with him ever since he started working at corporations. Like before, he was a nice guy. After he got hired, more difficult. Maybe my job makes me more of a difficult person. I don't know. But basically, that's how the conversation ended. And then the pandemic happens. And guess what? His dream came true. He started working from home. Now, at the time, I didn't really thought about it that much until I saw that he posted on Facebook the fact that he is unhappy. The fact that working from home is depressing. And this happens by August. And I also found papers saying that a lot of the people in Silicon Valley are suffering from burnout. And it's like, how is this true? Like, why did I have an insight into this, but the people with the scientific paper didn't? And I show him the article with people from Silicon Valley. I talk to him about Facebook, and he starts insulting me, you know. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm thinking like, okay, why is this phenomenon happening? Like, did the mainstream media lie to people? Did the researchers lie to people? And no, that's not what happened, because I read the paper and the scientists did their job. Like, they genuinely found out that people who work from home are happier and more productive. And they were absolutely right. But there is a missing piece of the puzzle. The experiment only took a couple of people and made them work from home for 3 months. After 3 months, we don't know. The science doesn't know, because the experiment was just for a 3-month basis. What happened afterwards wasn't experimented. So it could still be productive, or it could be counterproductive. And of course, the mainstream media didn't mention this because I don't think they did it out of malice or anything. They just didn't think about it at the time. So what ended up happening is that when people started working from home, a lot of people were incredibly happy at first, and they were very productive. But as time moved on, and certain people that have difficulty maintaining a strict sleeping schedule were starting to miss their deadlines. Certain people that lived with their parents or their loved ones started having problems concentrating, because it's difficult to concentrate when you have a kid crying in the background, when your wife comes into the room because she doesn't really understand you're working and not just sitting at home doing nothing. And then is the psychological factor, I suppose, because you stop separating house from work. They start melding together, and in your mind, it becomes this oppressive place. Home used to be this place of relaxation and happiness. Well, now home is the place where you're working and you're arguing with your wife. And then there's the issue of guilt. Because when you're at work, you're supposed to work. When you're at home, you're supposed to relax. But now that the things become one, when you're supposed to work, you procrastinate. And then when you finish working and you worked 8 hours a day, so you finished your quota, you still feel guilty because you're not doing anything. So chances are you're going back to the computer and keep working. And I know a lot of people who worked more than 10 hours a day because they felt guilty, or, you know, like they're feeling bored. They instead of just relaxing themselves, they go back to the computer and they keep working. So they're I guess like this is what increases the daily productivity rate. But increasing the productivity rate and having people being happy is two different things. So that's the reality, okay? Like the initial study didn't take this into account. And the reason Marius got upset, yes, I'm name dropping you, Bămucea, suși pula, ai văzut că am dreptate, is because he didn't understand the study. He didn't actually read the paper. He took it on basis of faith. And it wasn't faith in the scientists. It was faith in the mainstream media, the people that were mediating the information to him. He had faith that those people are going to do a good job, and they understood the science, When in reality, those people are journalists. Like they don't have scientists on their board. Like just a journalist read the abstract of the paper and then wrote an article. But yeah, I mean, the person like literally built, I guess, like his worldview around that paper and thought that, you know, like in a perfect society, people would work from home. And he thought that he has access to a truth that other mortals do not have. And he thought he is superior than the other mortals because he now has access to this knowledge. And when I proved to him that he is wrong, and then I managed to prove it beyond the shadow of a doubt because I showed his Facebook post. Like, show him, look, you're upset, you're not happy. And you told me, and I linked to the conversation previously that we had, you said that you're going to be happy and this is what you want. So you got what you want, why are you unhappy? And he insulted me because I was, I guess like, I was dismantling his worldview. Because his worldview wasn't built on science. If it's just science, right? I'm pretty sure if I were to go to the scientist that came up with the experiment and I would tell him, it's like, look, your experiment is perfectly fine, but you haven't accounted long-term effects. Like your experiment is just based on short-term effects for 3 months. And if we were to prolong it on a period of longer time, you know, then people might get burned out. And just so you know, I don't know what's going to happen if someone works from home for 5 years. Like maybe in a 5-year period, the situation can change again. Like maybe after 5 years, it's perceivable that a person can adjust to the new schedule and the new program and the new lifestyle, and then they can be very productive and also more happy than if they work from home. I don't know. But what I did know at the time, without doing any sort of experiment, without reading the papers, without anything else, just using common sense and wisdom, is that I knew the behavior of my friend, and I knew how it's like to work from home. So I concluded that he's not going to adjust, that he's going to be miserable within the time span of 1 year. Now, of course, you know, like maybe 2 years, but if you raise it and like 5, 10, maybe he's going to be okay with it because through repetition, through just doing the same thing over and over, I think it stands to common sense that if someone works from home for a long period of time, they get used to it. But yeah, so this is just one example, but like I see people on Twitter all the freaking time, and they talk about science and they don't read papers. They don't even understand the basis of that scientific field. Like what they do talk about is journalism. Like they read the papers, that's it. They're not into science, you know, like, and it drives me insane. As a person who finished med school, it drives me insane because you get like even these patients that come up and they just read a couple of papers online and they think they know better than the doctor. And it's like, what the fuck are you at the hospital then? If you know better than the doctor, treat yourself. But like, that's the thing, you know, like they just, I guess like they want to feel superior people. They want to feel as they have the knowledge, and anyone else that doesn't have the knowledge is dumb, uneducated, and even, dare I say, a danger to society because they go and vote and they're uneducated people. And only if we could have like some commission, some committee, some organization that would just filter misinformation from the real information so that those dumb people do not get access to the bad information because they're incapable of using their cognitive brain in order to think properly and select bad info from good info. In fact, critical thinking is fascistic in nature, I guess. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say about it. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the comment section. Take care. Oh, and by the way, do subscribe to my channel, and please share my video. It really helps. The algorithm doesn't really, especially like these types of videos, you know, they don't get shared around. So the only thing I can rely is word of mouth. Yeah. So if you have a big mouth, please share it around, and I will be much appreciated. Thank you.